Now as we move into the intermediate stage of a midge's life cycle, what I would do is definitely familiarize yourself with the life cycle of a midge, which is the larva, the pupa, and the adult. The interesting thing about midges is what they lack in size, they make up in numbers. So they have consistent hatches day in and day out on our tail races, anywhere from 3 to 5 broods per calendar year. So it's amazing how much midge activity takes place on our stream. So we just did the larva. Now we're going to move into the pupa. So when do you decide you're going to fish a pupa? Well, as soon as you start to see adults visually buzzing around the stream, that should be a signal to you that you should start fishing pupa. Now, the larva doesn't really require any sophisticated tactics and techniques with regard to fishing them. You typically dredge them down near the substrate where the greatest concentrations are found. Pupa, on the other hand, is a lot more difficult because you have to fish them mid-column. You have to have the right amount of weight and the right amount of depth to be successful. So this is one of my favorite flies here. It's called the Top Secret Midge, and it's going to use 2 different colors of thread for the body. This is a Tiemco 2488, and I would tie this in sizes 18 down to a 24. In the Rockies, oftentimes this time of year, you'll see the big spring midge, which is about a size 18, and then the normal midge that you'll encounter day in and day out is usually somewhere between a size 22 and a 26. So that's why I would carry a wide range of sizes in this particular fly, as well as any other pupa. So to review, 2488, size 18 to 26. This is dark brown 8/0 uni thread for the tying thread, and the rib here is going to be a 6/0 white uni thread. I'm going to take this and advance this white tying thread right back towards hook bend once again with very symmetrical wraps, and then advancing this forward to try to keep a nice smooth abdomen. When I first designed this fly, I wanted to create a fly that was easy to tie but had that segmented body that looked similar to like a peacock quill. The problem with a quill body is they're not as durable as a good thread body, and that's why this pattern came about. So I'm not going to counter rib this fly, but I'm going to actually take this material now and rib it forward, and hopefully on the monitor it looks somewhat quill-like. So think about this for a minute. You really have the flexibility to tie a wide range of sizes and a wide range of colors with this pattern. You could use black and white, that's a nice one. We see a chartreuse midge on the South Platte River, real bright green, so you could use chartreuse and black. Really, your imagination is where this stops. You can tie a wide range of different colors. But I can tell you the key on this is to make sure that you use a different piece of thread for each fly that you tie. Does that make sense? So don't reuse the piece that you've used previously, because by handling the thread it spreads it out and you won't get a nice clean segmentation. So it's important. What I do here is I keep my thread on a bobbin, and that way I'm pulling off a 6 or an 8 or 10-inch piece. It hasn't been handled, and it's going to create a nice clean segmented body. The wing on this pattern, I think, is what really makes this pattern fish so well, and it's a material called Glamour Madura. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it or not, but it's actually an embroidery thread, and it's great for emerging midge patterns and good for emerging mayfly patterns as well. So you should be able to find it at a local craft store around here, Hobby Lobby, Joann Fabric, something like that. If not, you can find it online, but it's called Glamour Madura. So I'm going to take 2 pieces of this Glamour Madura, and I'm going to secure them into place right here. And then I'm going to take a piece of fine and dry, super fine, rusty brown dubbing. Now, we talked about how the larvae are very uniform throughout their body. Pupa, on the other hand, have a swollen thorax that contains the wings and the legs of the emerging adult. We also talked about the importance of drifting this mid-column. So once I see the adults visually flying around, then I'm going to go down to a number 6 split shot. I typically am a fan of a yarn indicator, and I can adjust that very easily up and down on an orthodontic rubber band, keeping it 1.5 to 2 times the depth of the current. That's my general rule of thumb. Too much weight and you can actually be fishing underneath the fish. Does that make sense? So with pupa, you have to be very, very careful with the amount of weight that you use. So now we're going to take a little bit of this superfine. There's a lot of dubbings available. I like the superfine dubbings because they don't have the guard hairs in it. It's just much easier to control and much easier to use them and get that defined accuracy and that beautiful little tapered football look in that thorax. So we're going to create this little dubbing noodle here, and we can advance this right back towards the wing. Like I said, just a nice little football shape, and then we're going to whip finish that off. Snip that, and then probably the most important thing here is to pull that forward. I'm going to trim that wing off, and then I'm going to frizz that wing out just like that. And you can see how now that's just a little emerging wing. It's got a little dash of flash like those Mercury patterns. You can fish this under an indicator, which I do traditionally that we talked about a moment ago, but you can also fish this in the film too with the greased leader technique. So that's another strategy that would work very, very well with this particular fly. So again, this is the Top Secret Midge.